Chris, what is our fourth main topic today?
The Antagonistic Anonymous. In a recent interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Kevin Feige has confirmed that the Fantastic Four film will not be an origin story. He explained that the audience is already familiar with their origin story and are aware of the basics of the team. John, to me, this implies that Fantastic Four might already exist with the MCU. However, this leads to one main question. Where have they been?
All right, thanks for sending that in. And okay, so there was this interview by Kevin Feige where he said a bunch of things, but he did not say that the Fantastic Four was not going to have an origin story in it. Now, look, that might be the case. That might be the case. But it looks to me like this is somebody interpreted that's what Kevin Feige was saying, put it in their headline, and now everybody's kind of running with that. Now, again, they might be 100% right. I'm not saying it is or is not. But let's go over and see what was actually said. This comes to us from the folks over at The Hollywood Reporter said this. Over at Fox, Fantastic Four previously had a pair of Chris Evans starring films in the aughts, as well as a disastrous box office miss in 2015 from director Josh Trank. Feige compared Marvel's new take on the heroes to its pact with Sony to bring Spider-Man into the MCU, noting that this will not be another origin story. Now, notice this. Kevin Feige didn't say that. That is the Hollywood, or that is, the Hollywood Reporter kind of interpreting that, saying, noting that this will not be another origin story. Now, here's what Kevin Feige actually said. A lot of people know this origin story. A lot of people know the basics. How do we take that and bring something that they've never seen before? Said Feige, who added that given the super team launched the Marvel Comics universe back in 1961, we've set a very high bar for ourselves with bringing that to the screen. All right, so again, let me keep that up. Let me just read this again. This is what Feige said. A lot of people know this origin story. A lot of people know the basics. How do we take that and bring something that they've never seen before? Now, it is possible that Kevin Feige said to the Hollywood Reporter director, yeah, we're not doing an origin story. It's possible he said that, but that's not what's in Kevin Feige's quote. He said, how do we top that? Now, that to me does not necessarily mean he's saying we're not going to do an origin story. Because, I mean, the Fantastic Four, yeah, there have been a couple of iterations that not a lot of people have seen. I still don't think there's a lot of the general movie-going audience who do know this isn't Batman, right? Whereas even the most casual moviegoer, they know the origins of Batman. They know the origins of Superman. I don't know if a whole ton of the average movie-going audience knows the origin of Fantastic Four. So let's go. I'm saying I'm not 100% convinced Kevin Feige was saying that there's not going to be an origin story, but let's for a second assume that there's not going to be. That's an interesting decision because as you wrote it, Anonymous, it does raise a question. Well, where have they been? If this isn't an origin story of the Fantastic Four, where are you saying that the Fantastic have been this whole time? Now, you could say they've been caught in a quantum realm. Okay, but wouldn't that even itself kind of be an origin story in a way? So if Kevin Feige is saying that this isn't going to be an origin story, I like the idea of just jumping right into the story. But yeah, there's a certain number of things that then have to be explained. I wonder, though, if he was actually saying that and if we aren't going to actually get an origin story. Again, I'm a little bit unclear that. I'm not taking a side one way or the other right now. I got to get more information. But Rob, let me ask you that. If Kevin Feige is indeed saying that there is not going to be an origin story in this new Fantastic Four movie, does that not present a couple of problems? Or how can they easily get around it? What do you think?
I don't know because, we didn't really see Tom Holland's Spider-Man origin and we didn't see Thor's origin. In the MCU, we just kind of knew who they were.
But isn't there a fundamental difference between like the Spider-Man situation, which already had two different iterations in the past just couple of years that many people did see, and Spider-Man's one of the most popular comic book characters in the world, and everybody knows he got bit by a radioactive spider.
It's a song from the 1960s telling you.
But I think that people can infer, like, do we actually? To me, the thing about Fantastic Four, I think part of the problem is the origin story sort of hampers the rest of the movie because then you're locked in to telling a story about, well, they're going to go into space and they're going to get hit by gamma radiation. Then you have to watch Ben Grimm deal with becoming the Thing. And, everybody learns their powers. To me, like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even if you don't know the Fantastic Four, you can infer all of this stuff.
Okay.
But here's what I think the point that you made, though, is more interesting. Where have they been? And I'm like, if they can incorporate that into, like, you know, if you look at the cosmic, what John Byrne did with the Fantastic Four in the 80s, really there's a lot of interesting stuff there. And what happens if the movie opens where, boom, the Fantastic Car or whatever comes through some portal and they're all looking around like, where's the Baxter Building? You know, and the Fantastic Four are looking around going, where the hell are we?
So you're talking about them incorporating the whole multiverse thing into this, that they just literally come from Earth 725 or something.
Yeah, and they don't even know why. This is our home Earth, but nobody knows who we are. What the hell? And incorporate that into whatever shenanigans, because they say that they're going to introduce them in Phase 5 or at the beginning of Phase. Where they're not
beginning
coming
of Phase 6.
Okay, so they're coming. We're going to have a lot of
6.
multiverse shenanigans going on.
Right.
And if they were to just show up, you know, and somehow incorporated it with Kang and Galactus, and everybody would get it. You know, I think people would get it, and suddenly it would just be boom, and you're off to the races.
So I agree. I think the multiversal thing, that this is the Fantastic Four this is a team of heroes from another universe. No origin story necessary. Don't have to ask the question about where they've been. So that would be an obvious solution. Yeah.
Or they could just say, you could see, you incorporate it into a flashback from our universe, and they were there, but they had to leave to preserve the timeline, and like they were erased from existence. And then they come back to our timeline and nobody knows who they are because they already saved our world, but we've forgotten because the timeline changed.
That's an interesting way to approach it.
You know, and so when they come back, no one knows who they are.
I like that. I like that.
You know, so
yeah. Chris, what do you think?
What I would really like is if we have them peppered in throughout the stories, right? We just maybe have in the background some news footage happening about a troubled space mission, maybe cameras getting out of their face where they're like, Ben Grimm cannot talk at this time or make a statement. He is in, critical condition. And then we have this buildup because it's a team of scientists, right? Who have been testing the limits of their powers. We're not going to go out into the field until we know how these things work, you guys.
Yep.
And then you have Johnny Storm, chip on his shoulder, going, you've kept me on the sidelines for far too long. Look at what's happening to our world. Look at what's happening. You're such a coward, Reed. I want to get out there and you can't stop me. And I think that creates a really fun family tension.
That is another great idea. The idea that they discovered their powers but just kept it to themselves.
Yeah.
That's another option.
or
That's another one.
they launched right before the Thanos situation, you know, and they went on the space mission that we haven't heard about. It was because why would we? We've been focusing on superheroes. So their mission went up.
Mission control just got snapped.
Right before, or when they came back, they might have all got snapped. Or somebody
Come back in the middle of a radiation storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, okay.
That's
So
maybe-
listen to us coming up with
Maybe
some
the actual radiation storm happened when Thanos snapped his finger, because they talked about Rocket showed that this energy. How interesting would it have been that they launched, and when the finger was snapped, their ship was.
But still, wouldn't that kind of be an origin story?
Well, yeah, but it wouldn't. They wouldn't have to get in. I mean, you
Right.
You
You have
meet
to
them
get into the
after the
nitty-gritty,
fact,
yeah.
like
Right.
afterwards, and you would hear that You wouldn't have to see it. You could hear about it.
Yeah.
Later. Yeah.
All right, guys, the question is for you.
By the way, we all just got paid by Marvel.
Yeah,
for coming up with
wrote up all these things.
scenarios.
What do you
Write the
think about
check.
this? Number one, do you think Feige was indeed actually saying, I think it's a 50-50 thing. Do you think he was actually saying there isn't going to be an origin story? Because I'm still not 100% sure about that. But whatever, maybe it was. And if he was, what do you see as some creative solutions to address the problem of, well, where have they been this whole time? Whatever your ideas are, jump on down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, Ryan Reynolds, and specifically his delightful company, Mint Mobile. So look, after years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't a catch. And guys, this is no joke. I have been using Mint Mobile for months now. And on top of the fact that I'm spending literally about 1/3 every month of what I was spending on my former major carrier, I've discovered no decline in my service. I kept my phone number and I was able to keep my phone. The switch from my old service to Mint Mobile couldn't have been easier and saved me more money. And the best part for anybody who just hates their phone bills is that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea.